Hello, everyone. My name is Beau, and this is the first episode of the Beau Show. And here on the Beau Show, we'll be going over all the things that I wish I knew earlier in my life, things that could help you, strategies, and all these great things that we can implement. And yeah, without getting into it first, basically, I'm not saying I know it all, but I do. I have learned a lot from mistakes in my past. So my goal is if I can help you not have to make those same mistakes and give you strategies and ways to succeed, that is the goal. And so before we get into all that, first I'm going to tell you a little bit more about yourself. So you're actually a very amazing creature created by our creator. And unfortunately, we are pretty hard on our bodies. And one of the great things that we have as humans is choice. And unfortunately, so many of us choose the wrong things. And I can tell you, I have definitely done that. And yes, so here we are basically, going through life, and it's up to us to decide how we, what outcome we have. So I guess really the first thing to start with is just taking ultimate accountability and responsibility and basically saying, hey, I'm exactly where I am and doing what I'm doing and earned what I've earned and look how I look because of my decisions. And a lot of people want to blame other people and blame circumstances and this and that. But at the end of the day, to change something, you first have to take responsibility. And so you are a beautifully developed creature. You have an amazing potential. And unfortunately, so many of us, like you and myself, fall short of what we really truly could be. So my goal for myself this year is to be the best version of myself, to do as much as I can to, help as many people. And so this is part of that. So I'm really excited about it. But most importantly, before we get into any of that, you got to have a reason why. Like, why should you try? Why care? Why go to the gym? Why make sure you drink enough water? Why eat the right appetite? Why do any of that? Why take your vitamins? Like, what's the reason of it, right? If we're all just going to die and it's all, you have no purpose or no reason. There's not really a reason for you to get up early in the morning and go to the gym. So that's step one, is you got to have a why. And a lot of people just hope and think that someday along someone's just going to come along and be like, hey, here is your purpose with a scroll. You are to be a helper of the week. And I wish that was the case, but unfortunately that's not the case. You have to, now there's people who can inspire you and people who you can listen to, but still at the end of the day, you are the person that's got to, get down and dirty and roll up your sleeves and go, okay, Selfski, we are going to do what we need to do in order to get where we need to go, to a place called there. And we're about to go there. But before we go there, you've got to make sure in your mind, you know why it's even worth it, right? And I think that's one of the most important things. And we're not taught this stuff in high school or anywhere. It's just, they're all just like, here's math and science, figure it out yourself. But yes, I would say probably the best way to figure out your purpose is to really sit down and write down all the things that stir you up. And now, don't get too caught up and lost in the sauce, because so many times we think we have to have it all figured out. And that's not necessarily the case. One of my favorite quotes is by Zig Ziglar. He says, go as far as you can go. And once you get there, you'll be able to see farther. So my goal here is to at least point you in the beginning direction to start that process. So sit down, piece of paper, and write about all the things that stir you up. Write about the things that you want to argue about with people, that fire you up. Maybe it's feeding the hungry or helping the poor, or whatever it may be, right? Or maybe it's an injustice you see in humanity. Maybe it's stopping human trafficking. Whatever it may be, write down all the things that stir you up in life. And then as you start writing down, you might be thinking of other things, or how can you actually do that? And so, for instance, let's say you want to help people who are don't have good, clean water. Well, you going and filling your bunch of water bottles at your house with a good filter, and trying to mass produce clean water is probably not going to be that effective. But if you go amass a great fortune and you now have a lot of money and tools in your tool kit to go and help people, that is definitely a much more realistic way of helping people. So it's sometimes, you got to do things that aren't sexy to be able to fulfill the things that you really want to do. But when you can align those things together and go, okay, if I go and I don't know, maybe you start a car dealership, or maybe you start a clothing company, or maybe you start whatever. But you realize that if you go and you become disciplined, and there's so many ways right now you can make money on the internet with AI. It's crazy. And I'll even specifically break down all those strategies later on in this. But first, you got to have a reason why you're even going to put in the energy and the effort to learn the skills and take all the time. So I really strongly encourage you, if you feel lost and you feel like you don't know what's going on, this is a perfect time, beginning of the year, to sit down with yourself, at least 30 minutes, an hour, put your phone on Do Not Disturb, throw it out the window, and really go, okay, what stirs me up? Because it's like, if you're not going to ever do this, if you're not ever going to change anything, nothing's going to change. Like, that's what hit me, a couple of years ago, is this. I was just in the same thing over and over and over, and I just kept thinking that magical suddenly thing was going to appear. And you have to go out and fight for your purpose. So you really have to be intentional. I love that word, intentional. Say to yourself, intentional. What are your intentions this year? Really take that in. And if you're like, I don't have any, well, this would be a good time to write that out, And so it's like, you first have to have a reason why to go and do all this stuff, right? Because we really have a lot of work to do. I have a lot of work to do on myself, and I want to help inspire you guys to do that as well, to get in there and get in the gym and get looking great and take your vitamins and drink your water. And if you're watching this right now and your head hurts and you're like, well, this is exactly for you. So, so basically, first part of all this is finding your why. I'll go deep dive into this, and this is the first episode of it, and it'll be fun. I'll have, really successful people on the show, and people who've, inspired and mentored me, who have had great achievements. We'll be breaking down step by step how to do all that. But before we can even get there, you've got to have your own internal fire of why you want to do it. So recommend you sit down, write it out, and then over the next episodes, I'll show you now how do we actually tangibly achieve and start striving after those goals and those reasons and those purposes. But yeah, step one in life is, when you're lost and you feel like you don't know what you're doing, when you have a purpose that is greater than yourself, that will fire you up to go and achieve your dreams and goals. So I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Can't wait for the next episode. So go and write down all the things that fire you up, and hopefully you will help find your purpose, and we can get after it on the next episode. Thank you guys. Have an amazing day. I'm Beau. Goodbye.